Okay, here's your solutions for challenge 1. So A says 50% of 1,500. So question 1A. Now I know 50% is the same as a half. So I'm finding half of 1,500, which means I need to divide it by 2, which gives me 750. So 750 is my answer there. B, 50% of 990. So again, I know that 50% is a half. So I'm dividing it by 2. So 990 divided by 2 is 495. C, 50% again, this time of 4,600. If you know that 46, half of 46 is 23, then you can probably work that one out okay. Make sure you add in your kilometres for that one. And look, I made a mistake. I forgot to add in pounds for B. So you have to make sure you add in your unit of measure. It's very easy to forget that. I just forgot it there now. On the D, 50% of 780 metres this time. So again, I'm dividing by 2. And that gives me 390 metres. E, 25% of 8,040. So there's no unit of measure this time. But 25%, I need to remember, equals 1/4. To find a quarter of something, I divide it by 4. Okay, so 2010 is your answer to that one. F, 25% of 4,480 pounds. So again, I remember that 25% is the same as a quarter, so I'm dividing by 4. 1,120 pounds. G, 25% of 6,500 centimetres. Again, dividing by 4. And remembering it as centimetres, so 1,625 centimetres. H, 25% of 744. No units of measure this time, but again I'm dividing by 4 to find a quarter. 25% being equivalent to a quarter. 7 divided by 4 is 1, remainder 3. 34 divided by 4 is 8, remainder 2. And 24 divided by 4 is 6. So you can see how important it is to keep up your tables, how sharp and quick you are at your tables, because it really helps you when it comes to sums like this. H, that was HI, 10% of 920 pounds. Well, we know that 10% equals 1/10, and we know that to divide something by 10 we don't need to write out a dividing sum. We know that you move the numbers all down one house, which means that is 92 pounds. J, 10% of 3,760. So now I'm finding a tenth, I'm dividing it by 10, and that gives me 376. K, 10% of 2,370 kilograms. Again, I move all the numbers down a house, so the 2 goes from the thousands into the hundreds. The 3 and 7 follow it back, and that gives us 237 kilograms. And L, 10% of 5,480 metres. Again, all the numbers move back or down one house, and that's 548 metres. Okay, on to challenge 1, question 2, and we're solving word problems now. A says 50% of the class brought packed lunch today, and the rest ate school dinner. What fraction ate school dinner? Well, 50% equals a half. So if half the class brought packed lunch, then half the class will also be eating school dinner. So the answer is a half. So you need to know that 50% is equivalent to a half. B says 40% of year 5 want to be in the football team. What percent do not want to be in the football team? So I'm going to just underline that to make sure that I remember what it is I'm actually being asked. Now, what percent do not want to be in the team? Well, if 40% do want to be in the team, that means 60% don't want to be in the team, because 40 and 60 make 100. So 40% plus 60% make 100. Remember, percent means out of 100, so percentages must always add up to 100, and they can't go beyond that. So I'm looking here at 60% of year 5 do not want to be in the team, because 40 plus 60 takes me to my 100%. So that's my answer. Question C, there are a total of 240 ice creams. Year 5 eat 25% of them. How many are left for the rest of the school? So my equivalent fact that I must remember here, 25% equals 1/4. So I need to find 1/4 of 240. Now hopefully from your tables you'll recognise that 1/4 of 24 is 6. 24 divided by 4 is 6, which means that 240 divided by 4 is 60. So that means year 5 eat 60, but the question says how many are left for the rest of the school. So if 60 have been eaten, I need to take that away from 240, which leaves me with 180 as my answer. And question D says, out of 80 questions in the test, I got 60% right. How many did I get right? So 60%, change it to a fraction, is 6/10. I'm finding 6/10 of 80. So remember, I've got to divide by the bottom, then multiply by the top. 80 divided by 10 is 8. And from my tables, I know 8 times 6 is 48. So I've divided by the bottom, which got me 10, and then I multiplied that by the top number. Sorry, I divided by the bottom, which is 10, that got me 8, and I multiplied that by the top number, which was 6, and my answer is 48. I got 48 questions correct. Okay, moving on to challenge 2, we've got to work out the percentages first of all. So A is 50% of £8,524. Again, 50% equals half, so I'm going to be dividing by 2. So 8,524 pounds divided by 2 is 4,262. Remember your pound sign because we're working with money here. B is 25% of 7,360 kilometres. 25% is the same as 1/4. So I know if I'm finding 1/4, I'm dividing by 4. So 7,360 kilometres divided by 4, which gave me 1,840 kilometres. Question C, we're working in metres, and it says that 10% of 5,410. Now, again, when I'm working with 10%, I know that 10% equals 1/10. So that means I'm dividing by 10. So 5,410 divided by 10 gives me 541 metres, not forgetting your units of measure again. D, 40% of 9,540. Well, 40% is equal to 4/10. So 40% is equivalent to 4/10. And again, dividing by the bottom and multiplying by the top. So the first thing I'm going to do is 9,540 divided by 10, which gives me 954. Then I've got to multiply that by the top. So divided by the bottom, which is 10, and I'm multiplying by the top now, which is 4. So 954 multiplied by 4, which gave me 3,816. There's no units of measure to add into my answer this time. Question E. 75% of 8,144 grams. 75% is equivalent to 3/4. Again, it's so important to know these equivalents, so when you get them to learn for your tables, you really have to know them very well. So we're dividing by the bottom, multiplying by the top, finding 3/4 then of 8,144 grams. So my first job is to divide by the bottom, so 8,144 divided by 4. Please do show us you're working out whenever you're doing these, okay, just so we can see your strategies in case you're going wrong anywhere. That gives me 2,036, and I've got to multiply that by the top, which is 3. So 2,036 times 3 and I got 6,108 for that. F, 30% is equivalent to 3/10. So I've got to divide by the bottom, which is 10. 5,720 divided by 10 is 572. Then I'm going to multiply by the top, which is 3. And the answer is £1,716. G, we're working with 80%. 80% is equivalent to 8/10. So 7,550 kilometres divided by 10 is 755 kilometres. Going to multiply that by the top number, which is 8. And the answer was 6,040 kilometres. For H, we're finding out 25%, which we know is equivalent to a quarter. If you want to find out a quarter of something, you divide it by 4. So 9,892 divided by 4. And when I did that, I got 2,473. In I, we're working with 75% again, so that's 3/4. My first step is to divide by the bottom, so I'm going to divide £9,944 by 4. That got me £2,486, and now I have to multiply that by the top, which is 3. So £2,486 multiplied by 3. When I did that, I got £7,458. In J, I have to find 45% of 9,060. I'm going to start off by finding 40%. To do that, I'm going to find 10%, which is 906, 1/10, and I'm going to multiply that by 4. And that gave me 3,624 grams. So I know that that's 40%. Now I've got to find the 5% to add on to that. Now remember at the start I found out that 10% was 906 grams. I can use that to find 5% because I know that 5% is half of 10%. So I'm going to divide that by 2. When I did that, I found that it was 453. So now I've got the 40% and the 5%. I just have to add them together to get the final answer, which was 4,077 grams. I'm going to use the same method for K, which is 55%. I'm going to start off by finding 10%. Of 6,470 metres, which would be 647 metres. Then I'm going to multiply that by 5 to find 50%. That gave me 3,235 metres, so no 50% is that. Now I could have obviously worked out 50% by dividing by 2, but finding this 10% allows me to find the 5% more easily. Again, I know that 5% is half of 10%, so if I divide 647 metres by 2, that will get me 5%. Now watch this division sum carefully because there's a remainder which we need to be careful about here. 6 divided by 2 is 3, 4 divided by 2 is 2, 7 divided by 2 is 3, remainder 1, so I have 3. Then I'm going to put in my decimal point, so I'm going to add a 0.0 after this, and I'm going to stick my remainder 1 there. And 10 divided by 2 is 5, so that's 323.5 metres. So if you do have a remainder on a sum like this, you need to add a decimal point and a 0 after it, so you can carry your remainder over and keep on doing the sum. Now I've got to add together this 5% to the 50% to find the final answer, which was 3,558.5 metres. When I added those, I added 0.0 after this number, so that all my houses were filled and I could add it up properly. And L is similar again. I'm finding 85%, so I'm going to start off by finding the 80%. So I've divided the number by 10, which has given me 275 metres. I'm going to multiply that by 8 to find the 80%. And that gave me 2,200 metres, so 80% is 2,200 metres, and now I just need to find the 5%. So again, I'm going to take the 10% that I found and I'm going to divide it by 2. So 275 divided by 2. 2 divided by 2 is 1. 7 divided by 2 is 3, remainder 1. 15 divided by 2 is 7, remainder 1. So I'm going to carry on with my 0.0 and put my remainder 1 there. Don't forget your decimal on the top as well. And 10 divided by 2 is 5. So that is 5% then of the amount, and I need to add that to the 80 to find the final answer, which was 2,337.5 metres. Don't forget your unit of measure.